Today I'm getting lessons on how to make videos, visual storytelling, video branding. Video is hot, hot, hot. What's up, everybody? Dennis Strawley, founder of DOYOLive Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference, coming to you live from Stone Fruit Coffee. It's up above us. And I'm sitting down with Bill Rusu, founder of Shop Valley Local, but more specifically, Pebble Media. What's up, everybody? Coming to you on a Friday.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying a Friday?
Yeah, it's been great.
Good week. Bill's a little raspy today.
Yeah, I was a little sick this week, but, you know, we'll make it work.
He's got his sexy FM DJ voice going on. We're going to spin some tunes. We're going to get it going. Live from Branch Street today. Or on Branch Street.
Stone Fruit.
Oh, Stone Fruit. That's right. Don't forget about that.
Branch Street's also very good. Any of the local coffee, whatever you want, whatever you like.
You got it. So, anyway, Bill, glad that you could obviously drop by today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've got some big things going on at DOYOLive this year. Bill actually signed up to come to DOYOLive, so super pumped about that. We are coming down the stretch on announcing our breakout session leaders here in the upcoming weeks. A new venue, a new website, workshops, affiliate codes, so people that when they do sign up, they can actually get credit back, $75 per person that they get to invite people to come to the conference. So all sorts of good stuff. But more importantly, let's talk about you. Let's talk about video. And before we came live, like, we were setting up the camera, and I was getting nervous because we do the Facebook Lives all the time, and Bill's an expert, so he's coaching me, like, turn the camera, the lighting's off.
We have a little bit of extra headroom, but that's so we can get the stone fruit in there. So don't add us. That's why we have some extra headroom in the shot.
So, Bill, let's give some context to this conversation.
Yeah.
You and I go back a few years. We actually partnered together in a former life on redeveloping the Business Journal Daily's website.
Yeah.
And what was interesting when we went through that project, you and I sat down and we were looking at their video strategy. And at the time, they were paying a significant amount of money to archive video.
Yeah.
And we came up with this really great idea.
Yeah, use Vimeo. That was pretty much the...
The geniuses were like, let's white label this, $300 a month or $300 a year.
Yeah.
And so that was where we first met. Since that time span, let's tell people about what you do.
Sure. So my company, Pebble, is focused on promoting the positive side of the Mahoning Valley. So I think there's a lot of negativity and pessimism that we've been subjected to in this area for literally decades. And so what I want to do is show people, hey, there are great things happening. There's great local coffee, great retail stores, you know, interesting music and arts happening. We really do live in a great community. I think we just need to leverage and appreciate what we've got. So my company's goal is to show that to people and get them bought into that.
Talk about Shop Valley Local as well.
Sure. So Shop Local Mahoning Valley focuses... it's Shop Local Mahoning Valley.
Okay, there we go.
It's a long name. So I launched that series in between Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2016. And it started as just a video series I was going to do as sort of a community service project. That's what I was calling it at the time.
Okay.
And started just doing these features on local businesses that are sort of documentary style, get into the heart of who is this person that owns this business, why do they do what they do, not focusing on the specific products or services they offer, but the heart of what that business is. Started doing it, and it kind of blew up. People were watching the content, sharing it, interacting with it a lot more than I really ever would have expected. So I kind of started building a business around that. So Shop Local Mahoning Valley is the beginning of hopefully something very great in the area, where we're just promoting our community.
Let's give a couple quick shout outs. Deanna, thank you for dropping by today. Dr. Mike crushing it yesterday on the DOYOLive marketing show, man. That was pretty slick. He brought in a good friend of ours, Fortunato Figliano.
Okay.
Not a relative, but anyway, they came on. They did a DOYOLive yesterday for their breakout session tryout. Mike's been a two-time speaker at DOYOLive. Awesome. And we also have somebody giving some props, man. They're like 2 and 2 together, that you are behind the brains behind Shop Local.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, you know, this is a first step. I think there's a lot of people who like the show, enjoy it, but don't really know anything about Pebble or me. So
let's talk about this for a second. And those of you that do not know it, you can find it on Facebook. And what's interesting is that we live in an environment where we hear every day that engagement's going down on Facebook. But Bill's kind of proven that otherwise. Let's talk a little bit about how, you know, many views that your videos consistently get on that platform?
Sure. So in 2017, I averaged 185,000 impressions per month, doing one video a week on local businesses. About 85% of my reach is organic, so I'll put a little bit of money into boosting. And I actually kind of like boosting. You know, the way I look at it is, if Facebook worked the way people wish it worked, you would put something up, and 30 minutes later it would be buried in other content and nobody would ever see it.
Yeah.
So when you boost something, you're keeping it relevant and keeping it in news feeds for as long as you want. You know, I usually do a week because then the next episode goes up and I boost that one. So I use it as an opportunity. I don't look at it as a negative like I think some people do.
Well, I think that what happened is that when the platform started, and if you were early in marketing on Facebook, and still today, it was obviously time gets associated as being free, but you were able to post stuff and you were able to get some engagement and some likes, and people kind of were like, and I don't really value, except out of my pocket, the difference between, like, is this organic engagement or is this paid for engagement? Right. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Engagement's engagement. Like, I would love for it to be like I post it and it goes viral, but the reality is that it's fine.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that. I have one really viral video, Cockeye Barbecue out in Warren. Shout out to them. It's amazing barbecue. That hit, I think it's up to about 115,000 organic impressions right now. So that's like the one huge success that I've had. The other ones are a lot more.
Not to derail the conversation, but I'm a barbecue fiend, and it even says it on my LinkedIn profile.
Have you not had Cockeye Barbecue?
No, we should.
Oh man, you got to go out.
So
totally worth the drive out to Warren if you live in this area or Columbiana. I would highly recommend.
So getting back to it, before we jump into the Pebble Media aspect of the business. So you know. Obviously, one of the big reasons why you get the amount of engagement and reach and views that you do is the fact that it's video.
Right.
So talk a little bit about the importance behind video, the aspect of that. Obviously, Facebook loves it. Other mediums love that. And we have this capability now to do video pretty much like we're doing right now with my phone. So talk about a little bit about that.
Well, I think what it boils down to is ultimately what these software companies want, whether it's social media or Google or whoever it is, they want authenticity, right? They want people to actually be genuinely engaged in the content that they're consuming. Okay. Well, there's no better way to do that than video, right? Because you can sit there and you can tell your story and you can talk and be real. It's not this photographed, like, perfect moment in time like a picture might be. Obviously, text posts, I think, have been dead for a long time.
Yes. I tell people right now, I'm like, look, if we're going to go with Facebook strategy and you're not going to contribute money to that problem, then we might as well not even do Facebook unless we're doing video.
Right. Right. Yeah, it gives people something to latch onto and watch and enjoy. And also, it's... I lost my train of thought. It's just one of those things that I think is a little bit more engaging as a type of content than something you have to read or put a lot of thought into. Autoplay. When they started doing autoplay, that was huge.
She completely changed the game.
Yeah, when you're just scrolling through your feed, then all of a sudden a couple interesting shots catch your eye. There's some movement there.
And if people actually scroll down through this, which I don't know why they would, this would pop into the right-hand corner of their feed and keep playing.
Yeah, and it just goes.
And they could keep listening. John, good point. So John did some aerial drone footage of the Zach Brown concert, and that's exactly right. Barb Hebrew, my partner in crime on the Icons of Youngstown, a year-long sponsor of DOYOLive. Give a shout-out to Valley Digital Service as well for being a year-long sponsor. And Andrea DePaulo will be on in the upcoming weeks to help us announce a lot of our breakout session leaders. Awesome. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Andrea and I went to college at YSU. So,
what's the right length on the videos that you are seeing that you create of getting engagement?
So that's a question I get asked a lot, right? And I have an answer that I always give everybody, which is there's no real right answer. And I know that's a cop-out. But what you want to do is...
I need an answer now.
You need to tell your story in an efficient way that doesn't lose people, right? So a movie is 2 hours long. You sitting down and watch movies, right? Because they're engaging for 2 hours. So if you can only engage for 30 seconds, then 30 seconds is your right length. I like to stick in the 90-second range. 60 seconds feels a little too short. It's kind of like, and then it's over. 90 seconds gives you a little bit more time to kind of get in and get the feeling of it. But, you know, I would say a lot of people watch about 45 seconds of Shop Local Mahoning Valley. They've now learned what the business is. They've seen some shots of the inside of it, what it's like, and they feel like they have enough to hopefully go support that business. So it kind of varies.
And we get so hung up, too, and obviously we should, the Microsoft of social media, the 10,000-pound gorilla being Facebook.
Yeah.
But are there some other avenues that you're utilizing that platform outside of Facebook, or did you simply grow that Facebook channel specifically for Shop Local Mahoning Valley?
Yeah, so again, because it was sort of a very grassroots thing, it just started on Facebook, and that's where our biggest success has been. But we're also on YouTube. We do some stuff on Twitter and Instagram. So we're trying to, you know, utilize all the different platforms and the different tools that we have available to us. The problem with something like an Instagram is they have a 60-second video limit.
John
so
points that out.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, John, it's not just even 60 seconds or 45 seconds on Instagram. That's why Facebook counts 3-second views.
Right.
Because our attention span, our ability, as a marketer and as a human being, like, it's literally like, not interesting, that stinks, I don't care. Oh, let me go back. There's a cat with a laser.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what you should do. Just throw a cute cat in the first 3 seconds and then transition into whatever else you're going to talk about. Maybe that'll work for somebody.
You know, I got young kids, and sometimes I've been known to get out a laser pointer and let them chase it around. No, I'm joking. That didn't happen.
Yeah, YouTube.
Don't call children's services.
YouTube is a great platform if you can break into that too. I think that's obviously, you know, that's one of the top search engines in the world besides Google and maybe Bing. But it doesn't have, again, the promoting and the boosting aspect that some of these other ones do. So when nobody knows about you yet, you have to find a way to get them to know about you.
What has been your budget when it comes to boosting? What's been the right amount of money to help? Do you let it play for a little while and get some organic engagement and then boost, or do you boost right away?
I boost right away.
And
as soon as I see a number, I go for about 25,000 impressions per episode of Shop Local Mahoning Valley. So if I hit 25,000 organically and the boost hasn't really even kicked in yet, then I turn the boost off before spending anything. If I'm not getting there organically, then I'll keep the boost on and wait till I hit that milestone. So.
And what's that number look like for you?
About $40 usually.
Oh, that's super reasonable.
That's a max of what I spend. So about $40 a week, less than $200 a month to reach the number of people I am.
That's a huge, like, yeah. $200 a month for 185,000 impressions to reach that many people is you're not going to find a better value. Now, the question I guess I have for that also, have you noticed in recent months that $40 is not getting you as much on Facebook?
In the last couple of weeks, to be honest, the organic has gone down a little bit, right? But 3 weeks ago, I did A-Lease to Go in Poland, and it hit 32,000 organically.
Any rhyme or reason to it, you think? Was there a time of day? Was there any sort of functional factors?
So I try to be as consistent as possible with the day and time that I'm posting this content. So traditionally it's been Wednesday at 9 a.m. I've transitioned it to Thursday at 9 a.m. The reason I chose an early morning thing was that I wanted it to...
All day.
Yeah, I wanted people to start seeing it, start sharing it, and so by the time...
People like Greg Snyder, G Money from Birdfish Brewery, who you guys did an awesome video on out there as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, theirs was great too. Theirs was very successful. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason. I will tell you, going back to the 3-second thing, what I've found is that if the first shot or two of your video is not interesting, then that will hurt your views because people will just scroll past it. They won't care. So you have to try and find a way to engage people right up top.
So question from Mr. Blake, I think it was stock video, or I have to go back to the comments here. Sorry.
That's okay.
When doing a video, do you prefer to use stock music, audio, or is it personalized audio over more effective?
So stock audio, I have a love-hate relationship with it, right? I mean, you have to license the music that you're using online. You can't just take some pop song and put it in your video without permission of the record label and that artist and all that stuff. So
the biggest problem with that is that you want so social media caught onto this number of years ago where it will just take you down.
Yeah, your content.
So it doesn't even matter. Like it even took the danger out of the equation.
Yeah, YouTube I think did that initially where they created some kind of algorithm that would automatically remove videos if it had copyright written stuff in it. So yeah, I use stock music. And you just have to spend the time. Sometimes that's the longest part of the edit is clicking on play on a track, saying no, doing the next one, no. And you're just going through page after page of horrible music until you find something that you actually like.
What do you think about, so getting back to that, and we wanted to address that question, that's the beauty of this platform is that, and what we did and what we recognized and why, we need to get more into planned video at DOYOLive. We're a live conference, so we've always said we're going to do live video. And I like the real, the raw, and the sort of, just interview style. But, we have to get more into that, into that conversation. And so with that, programmatic, how do you feel about programmatic content showing up at the same time every week at the same position, like programmatic, basically in a content marketing strategy, you want to be programmatic in the sense that you want to be able to deliver your content at a specific time with consistency over time to develop that habit. We know that the mail person shows up at your house every day at X time. We know that Cheers or Friends or Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm were on at a certain night every night of the week. What do you think about that?
I think it's very important. I think I see people first become fans of Shop Local Mahoning Valley, right? So I don't turn the notifications off. I think if you're doing social media, you need to be in tune to what people are doing. So I love when somebody will become a new fan of Shop Local Mahoning Valley. I get the notification that they liked the page, and then I get 10 notifications that they liked the 10 most recent videos all right in a row. And then I see people popping up every week.
Okay.
In conversations with people, I know that there are people who look forward to seeing that. If you're someone who wants to support local businesses, wants to stay involved in what's going on in the community, it's a great way to do that. And yeah, having it be consistent so that they know, like, okay, it's if maybe somebody sits down every Thursday at lunch and watches the new episode. I don't know, but I'm sure there's at least somebody who does that, right?
I vacillated in and out of this, and because of the fact that I run into so many people that say, "Oh, DOYOLive Marketing Show, that's every Friday, like around lunch, right?" And so that's programmatic, and they recognize that, and they've been conditioned for that. But I think that we're also living in this on-demand world where everybody's streaming Netflix, Hulu, you've got your iTunes going, and I feel like maybe not this generation right here, but the next generation that's right behind us is almost knowing no other situation to have to grow up on this really self-absorbed schedule, and it's smart that they don't have to be on anybody else's schedule. So I look at programmatic and I say, I don't know, it's like, what's that look like in the immediate future to the long term? And I always question myself with that.
Sure. Well, and the other thing I'll say too, a mistake that I believe a lot of people make is they don't leverage video that they've had made over and over again, right?
Correct.
So they'll pay a marketing company or whoever to create a video for them. They'll put it up one time, and then whatever views they get in that one push, that's all they get. But realistically, ideally, Stone Fruit, I covered them on Shop Local Mahoning Valley. Anytime they have a big event or a big, open house or something where they want to generate a lot of buzz, I would encourage them to take that video and use that as part of their strategy going forward. You can reshare the video multiple times, and it's not something that's as stale as an image.
It's a great piece of advice, because we will take this one piece of content right here, and we will repurpose this by embedding it into our website. We will transcribe it for the blog aspect and the search engine aspect of that. So the people that are still actually reading blogs, they're skimming and scanning, so they're listening maybe while they're on that. We'll put it into our email newsletter. We'll put it into tweets. And then we'll actually, if it's not dated from a date perspective, we'll come back and repurpose the video as well.
Sure.
So you get a lot of mileage, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to do, because essentially what I'm building, not intentionally, but just as a afterthought, is a big business directory of companies in the area, right? So when I do another coffee shop, I'll put in the article on my website, hey, you know, if this isn't close to you, if you want to find something that's in your neck of the woods, if you're out in Warren, here's Nova Coffee. If you're in Columbiana, here's, you know, Generations is opening back up soon, that kind of thing. So you can keep using that content. Eventually I want to put together a map where you type in your address and it spits out, here's the 10 retail stores and restaurants that are closest to you, with a video of the business owner talking about their business and why they do what they do, and why they care about what they're doing. And so yeah, it's video creation is time consuming, it's expensive, it's a talent that you have to cultivate over time. So to only ever use that video that's been created once, it's a waste. I mean, you're just not getting everything out of it that you could.
All right, so that's good advice on repurposing. We want to talk about Pebble Media. We don't want to let that go by the wayside. But we also want to bring some additional value. I mean, some great tips, by the way. We're getting some great feedback. Beth, Greg, Mike, Dr. Mike, if you're still on, share this. Let's get a few more people on so we can wrap this up with rapid fire questions at the end, by the way.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. Tips. Not everybody can go out and afford to contract a video person for every sort of piece of video that they're going to make along the way. And I'm looking for my bag because I forgot to do something. But
yeah, so I'll just take you from there. So
what do I do?
One of the most important things is audio, right? So the big difference between an amateur video and a professionally produced video is that audio.
Okay.
So if you are doing something and you have a mic attached to your phone here, I would even say
it's an amazing mic.
If you got a cable and ran that mic to here, like just an extension cable basically, and put the mic right here, we would sound that much better, right? Because we're close.
That's a good piece of advice.
So your mic distance is huge. Lighting plays a huge part in the way something looks. And you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on lighting. If you're at your house, if you just take two table lamps and set them here and here, take the lampshades off, then you're going to have this light it's going to be flat. It's not going to be like Hollywood cinema lighting.
Not dynamic, but it's going to work.
It'll work. You won't look like you're sitting in a pitch black room, doing your stuff. So I think there are.
I like to use the analogy that it looks like a bunker in Baghdad.
Yeah, right. Because that's. So you get some lighting, you get some decent audio. You know, if you don't have a microphone and you can't afford one, just go in a very quiet room, right? Like, just don't do it. This show specifically that we're doing here has a certain feel that we're going for. It's got a certain look. We want to be in a coffee shop. But if you want,
I'm cool with that. Like, it doesn't hurt my feelings. No, I know. No. Like, there's definitely deficiencies or things that we can improve upon along the way.
It's not a deficiency though. That's what I'll tell people. To your main point, you don't always have to hire a professional videographer. In fact, you can't for everything you want to do. I've had meetings with people and they're like, I want to do these 20 videos, and I'm like, great, but I know you can't afford that because that would just be so much time and production put into that. So if you want to do something like a Facebook Live, just do it. Just set up your camera. Try to optimize a couple things. Like I said, the lighting. We have a little tripod here that we're using to stabilize the shot. That's a huge thing.
The dog ate the previous tripod, and then we would balance it on the computer. And then, so we're actually high tech.
As long as it's not this. Oh, and the other thing I'll say, and I know that like Snapchat and Instagram and a lot of these platforms are breaking this, but don't shoot vertically, please. If you're going to shoot your own videos, take your camera, don't hold it like this, hold it like this. This is how video looks when you're, watching a movie or watching television.
I know, I hear.
And I know that the platforms have trained people to do this. Some of them, if you turn it, like if you're on Snapchat or Instagram and you turn it, then it's going to be sideways when people are looking at it. So you gotta know what platform you're on. But
this
like drives me crazy. As a video guy,
and I follow you too. Like, and you will see people giving advice away. When we when I did my we have a blog that's the 10 things you need to consider when going live on Facebook, because we've gone live over almost like 200 times over the past since a year ago November, even back before that, and we've had a lot of trial and error. There is this big debate over the way that you hold the camera based upon the platform and the experience. And I think what that comes down to is that you really have to understand your audience, and a lot of that comes probably through Google Analytics.
Sure.
So if you've got an audience that's very mobile heavy, then in that particular case, and I'm not talking 60-40 or 50-50, I'm talking like 80-90, and they're mobile, you may want to consider that that's why you got to do that. If you're just depending on what your stats tell you.
Sure.
Anyway, this is my 2 cents.
Well, and that's, as a professional videographer, there are things that matter to me that don't matter to the layperson. I mean, there are episodes, there's not a single episode of Shop Local Mahoning Valley that I wouldn't tweak the color here or the exposure here, or like maybe if that shot was a little bit this way. No, it's not something that anybody else notices.
That's why the quality of your videos always continue to get better. Like when I look at DOYOLive in 16 and 17, and as we head into 18, I have to get better at taking a moment to celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
But there's literally, the day's not even over yet, and I already know what, like, I'm like, oh, I have to fix this for next year.
Sure.
But so I completely understand, and I get that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit. So those are some great tips, by the way, and we'll make sure that we put those in the show notes. We're live at Stone Fruit Coffee with Bill Rusu, founder of both Shop Local Mahoning Valley.
That's it. Yeah.
We got that name
Long
right
title.
finally. And Pebble Media as well, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Sure.
This show today is being sponsored by Valley Digital Services, the icons of Youngstown Integrated IT Group. DOYOLive is coming back in 2018. I'm going to jet after we get out of this interview, because I got to get home, because we have a big conversation about our breakout session leaders for 2018. We're finalizing those. We actually have a keynote. I can't tell you who that is today.
Yeah.
But he's awesome.
It's a good thing to have, though.
He's a he this year, and he's awesome. He's on this meteoric rise in the pantheon of marketing talking heads, I guess, and Mount Rushmores of a big marketing tech company as well.
Okay.
So what's really cool is that we're attracting this interest beyond our borders. 80% of the people that come and contribute to DOYOLive are all local people.
Yeah.
But we've got people that are coming from California and from North Carolina and Washington, D.C., and Canada for 2 years running, so we're technically like we're international. Which we don't get much credit for being an international trade show.
Well, hey.
Until somebody comes across a big body of water, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, so tickets are on sale for DOYOLive, $150. Early bird tickets expire on April 30th. And get ready for our March Madness Bracket Challenge.
Oh.
So what we're going to do in March is we're going to do a bracket challenge, and the winner take all. Everybody can play in the pool. You don't have to. It's just the winner will get $1,000 sponsorship to DOYOLive.
Wow.
So pay attention to that.
Great, yeah.
All right, let's talk about Pebble Media.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
So that is, I was kind of looking at where I wanted to go next with my career and what I wanted this business to be. And I didn't want to go necessarily into marketing, right? I wanted to focus on this area and the interesting stories that there are, and promote those things and tell those stories. So the best way to do that is through a media company. We don't have to go and try to convince somebody to pay us to do the work. We just sponsorship and advertising. That's how we generate revenue, and we tell people stories. I believe in a very documentary style, so I don't consider it really news. I don't think of myself as a journalist. I think of it more as filmmaking. And if you watch Shop Local Mahoning Valley, that's going to be the blueprint for where we go from here. That is our big driving force right now. But the sky's the limit. Honestly, there's just so many cool things that are happening in this area.
I highly recommend that you check it out. And the reason is that Bill does a great job telling a story of not the products that the company offers, but the why. It tells about, that from interesting artistic angles. I like to see the process. Business is tough. It's a struggle. And for the companies that are out there that are explaining the story and their passion and their heart that's behind it is really exciting. And so check that out. Let's talk about how one more thing before we get into rapid fire questions. all of this stems from a passion of really propping up and inspiring local businesses.
Yeah.
I've seen things where like people are, local businesses going out of business because of the lack of support. And I've seen you be pretty vocal on social media about the support of that. Talk a little bit about that passion.
So I just think that we need to love and support the businesses that we have, right? People who have chosen to invest in our community. We can't be out there saying there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go, there's no cool things happening, because there are. If we open our eyes, we see that. And I'll be a little candid. My wife and I were thinking about moving away. A couple years ago, we were looking at some cities down south, Greenville, and some places in Texas. And one day we just said, you know what? Why don't we give Youngstown a real shot? Why don't we really start supporting? We're saying, oh, when we move to this city, we'll do all of these things. We'll go to the local theater and we'll drink at local coffee shops and we'll do all these great things, right?
Right.
So we said, why don't we do that in Youngstown? Give it a chance. And then once we give it a real fair shot, if we still don't like it, then we'll move. And it completely changed our lives. That has informed where my business is going. That's informed where my heart is for this community, because there is a lot out there. And I always ask the same question at the end of every interview for Shop Local Mahoning Valley, and I almost always get the same answer. That question is, if there's one thing that you would want the community to know most about your business, what would that one thing be?
My hustle.
It's close. It's almost.
I'm joking.
It's almost always.
It wasn't meant for me, by the way. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
It's almost always. I want people to know we're here, and that to me is
really.
It's a little heartbreaking in a way that you've got people doing amazing things, and I'll talk to businesses. They'll have been open for 5 years. They still get people in the door who say, "Oh, I didn't even know you existed."
I find that fascinating because I find that to be an interesting answer.
Sure. Well, and that's so. The other thing to speak on Pebble, the reason I went into a media company as well is that there's a need on social media for local content, right? As people are starting to move away a little bit from subscribing to newspapers or watching live television.
A little bit. You're being gentle. Anyway.
Yes. We need stuff that's on social media in a similar way to like what BuzzFeed is doing or the Huffington Post or these great new media companies. I think that we need something like that locally. YSU is amazing. All credit to Jim Tressel and the things that he's doing. I know there's a lot of other people.
It's been a great home for us for our first 2 years.
We need to get those people who are graduating from YSU to stay here. And the way we do that is by showing them that it's worth staying here. That's basically what it comes down to.
It's a good point.
In my view.
I get behind that.
I'm no city planner, so
I lean both ways on that conversation, and obviously I'm back here, and this is where I want to be. I could have spun the globe. We could have gone anywhere that we wanted to go. My wife is from here. I've lived out of the area for 21 years, so I was here as long as I was gone. And when we made the decision to move back near family, but the business had to work, the opportunities that I've positioned myself for in this community would not have happened anywhere else. Sure. I would have had a great career in New York City. I had a great career, but it wasn't. It was a great career for me. It paid me well. We had some amazing experience, but we really weren't doing you do fun stuff, but it wasn't necessarily meaningful work.
Sure. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about our community. I think one of the great assets we have is that one or two people can start a business and make a real impact on the community. I don't think that happens in a big city. If you're a one-man band doing videos in New York City, are you really making an impact? I don't know. Maybe if they're really good, if you're really reaching a lot of people. But
if you look at Humans in New York, that the way that manifested itself, but that's just one.
Right.
I feel like there's maybe a dozen of those stories here.
Sure. And there are women opening businesses. There are people of color. There's diversity in our community, and they're able to get that start here, I think, because everybody's just hungry to try new things and do new things and advance our community forward. Whereas, and maybe New York City is a bad example, but a mid-level to a larger city, it might be a lot more difficult to do those things.
Well, I will tell you this: two things. Number one, if all these businesses that have the awareness problem, and two, all these people that are starting businesses, the common theme across all of them is that they need marketing.
Sure.
So come to DOYO Live.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's true.
All right, let's do rapid fire questions.
Yeah,
we'll get out of here because I got to get to a committee member meeting. iPhone or Android?
Android.
What is on your home screen on your computer?
Are you talking like apps or? I'm a nerd, so I have 3 monitors.
3 monitors.
And each one is rotating through different pictures of comic book characters.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Spider-Man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. What's on your desk?
So a lot of stuff. 3 monitors takes up a lot of space. Business cards like scattered all around. Mouse and keyboard, and usually a couple empty cups from the last couple days. A Monster Energy can sometimes. That kind of thing.
Okay. You're a video person. You have a best documentary or film or movie that inspired you to get into video?
Jurassic Park, which I know is kind of a cliche answer at this point, but and this, I'll share this story really quick. When I was in the 5th grade, Steven Spielberg teamed up with Lego and they made this Jurassic Park movie maker kit where you got a bunch of Jurassic Park stuff and a little digital camera and could do like stop motion movies. Couldn't afford that, but my parents were like, here's our camcorder, you can start using it whenever you want. And that's been my life since then. 5th grade, that's how long I've been working towards this.
All right, most controversial question that you're going to probably face all week, and it's Friday. So you're almost like, you only got like 36 more hours.
Yeah.
Best pizza spot in Youngstown?
Oh, you asked Steve Fazzini this, and I was watching, so I've been thinking about it. Whatever you're closest to, right? I mean, we have an embarrassment of riches. I live in Poland now. I go to Coca's a lot. When I lived in Austintown, I went to Wedgwood.
I'm not going to tell you who's on that list, but since it's a Hip Hop Friday, I have put some people on the Sal's pizza boycott. I'm a big Spike Lee fan. I love his movies. I love the cinematography. I love how he tells a story, and so I always reference "Do the Right Thing," where they put Sal's Pizza on a boycott. But I'm not going to say who's on that list. But anyway.
Yeah, no, I eat Coca's a lot now because it's right down the street from me. Whatever's close to you, go there. As long as it's local, honestly. Like, let's leave the chains, off to the side. We got good local pizza. It's one of our best things, right? And Briar Hill. That's how I'll answer the Briar Hill.
Fundamentally across the board.
And I have a funny story about that too. My dad owned a pizza shop. We used to live in South Carolina. I was born here, but we moved around because my dad was kind of chasing manufacturing jobs. I, without knowing anything about Youngstown and Briar Hill pizza, would make pizza with just sauce and peppers on it and no cheese.
Yeah.
So in my universe, in my little bubble of a 10-year-old kid, I invented Briar Hill pizza.
That's good stuff. Business book, any book. What's the last good book you read?
So I'm working a lot with Jim Coster at the YBI. He's got me reading Traction right now, and that's a fantastic read on just different channels that you can use, different ways you can build that traction, build your audience, build your customer base. So that's what I'm reading now, yeah.
And then last but not least, best piece of advice, business-wise or not, in life that you either give or you get?
That's tough. I don't know if it really boils down to a piece of advice, but I'll give a shout out to my first boss from my first career job, Tony Diacenis at Via 680. It's a YBI portfolio company. And he just always treated everybody in our company with so much respect. Actually getting a little emotional here. He gave opportunities to me that I wasn't even suited for, but he let me figure them out and grow them, and that kind of led to my entrepreneurial spirit. So I think if you're a business owner, give young people a shot, let them take on responsibilities that they're not ready for, but force them to get ready for them, and some great things could happen. So shout out to Tony for doing that.
Good stuff. And we got Nicole Pioli that is on our Facebook Live, and she's a new marketing manager with DOYO Live.
Okay.
And I handed her a ton of responsibility this week for being integrating into being a social media marketing manager. And she's kind of looking for the manual, like around the office. She's like, "Is it underneath here?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, so last night I was like, schedule the post for to promote this. And there was a little bit of like, I was like, just go and do it. And like, if it's not right, we delete it, we do it again.
Yeah.
Like, and so get after it, Nicole. It's Friday. Download this, embed it, upload it to YouTube, transcribe it. Let's get this repurposed. Glad to have you on board, Nicole. We'll get you on a Facebook Live. Bill Rusu, thanks for dropping by the DOYOLive Marketing Show, live from Stone Fruit in Boardman, Ohio on Market Street. Stop here, get some great coffee, get all hyped up on caffeine.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend. Check us out. Get a ticket to DOYOLive, DOYOLive.com. $150 get you in the door. Endless networking, DJs, dynamic keynotes, breakout sessions, and a completely kick-ass after party.
And early bird tickets, right? That's what got me, because there was super early bird, which I missed out on. And so then when the early bird tickets came out, I was like, I'm getting this before the price goes up again.
And
the price is going to go up, and you're not going to want to miss out. So.
We've sold out our first 2 years, so
yeah.
And we're going to announce like in 2 weeks. So I know people are probably holding out for speakers, which I would probably, but you don't have to. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping by. See you.